Let's be honest, we are all a mess, and that is the common ground that we must come together and pick each other up. All right, so here we are in Newport Richey, Florida, speaking at the National Association of Mental Illness. Tonight, I get to speak to people that are living with mental illness. I get to speak tonight to police officers, hospital workers, mental health workers. So people that work in the field of mental illness, I get to inspire them and validate the importance of what they do every day. We're going to have fun tonight. NAMI, Pasco County, I'm honored to be here with you tonight, and I'm looking forward to share my heart with yours. Thanks for having me. So you might not find this as humorous as I do, but one of my challenges today getting ready for this event this evening was, should I go out and buy like a nice pair of slacks and a nice shirt, maybe a tie and a jacket? And I really contemplated going and buying something to dress up. And but I kept thinking to myself, I know that if I did, then that changes who I am. And I was afraid that if I did dress up for the audience, then I wouldn't be comfortable being me. And I think when you're dealing with mental health or mental illness, you have to understand that you have to focus more on what makes you comfortable versus you trying to be present for the audience. So as a speaker, I understand that I do have to be present and engaged and professional, and I'm going to be. But on the other hand, I also had to realize that I needed to be comfortable being me in order to be able to be the best me that I can be for them. So as I'm sitting here, I see everybody all dressed up and looking absolutely fantastic. And there's a part of me that feels a little bit out of place. Sometimes we put too much pressure on ourselves to be who other people want us to be. And when you try too hard to do that, you end up hurting yourself. And as a result, in this case, I would probably do my audience wrong. And the last thing I want to do is do my audience wrong. So I just found that kind of humorous.
Pasco County has the 5th highest rate of adolescent suicide in the state of Florida, and we are not the 5th largest county. So we got a problem, and we need to address it.
So the event has started. The director is saying his words, and we're going to have dinner, then I speak. And I wanted to step outside real quick because before every event, I want to pray, and I really want to center myself. Sometimes my anxiety gets so high that I want to speak so fast, and I want to share everything I know, and it's not about that. So I try and come out here and take a couple minutes and just center myself and get really present and engaged with this audience. And so, all right, well, that's it. You know what time it is now? Go time.
It is my pleasure to introduce Mr. Jeff Yalden. Jeff changes lives.
After 17 years of being married to an absolutely beautiful, incredible, wonderful, awesome woman, my nephew Connor would even tell you, we went through a divorce. And folks, I don't know how this happened. I'm standing in front of the mirror and I said to myself, what did I have to do with this? And that was like the most powerful place I think I've ever been in my life. And I realized at that moment when I looked in the mirror that my mental illness was greater than I ever respected it to be. And so as I stand here tonight, Kim, it was so beautiful to talk to you, and I'm so glad you're here. And Richard, you're doing such great service. You know, it was so nice to be able to chat with you guys. And so as I stand here, I'm diagnosed with major depression. I'm diagnosed with bipolar type 2. And I'm diagnosed with post-traumatic stress. And folks, as I travel all over the world, 200 days a year, I still see my therapist twice a month. I take my medication. I've come to learn self-care is not selfish, it's very important. Life happens every day for us. Everything shapes us. 3 things I think are really important. And I want to share this with you. Number 1, value yourself. Listen, believe in yourself. Because if you get the help that you need, you can live a very fulfilling, meaningful life. Number 1, value yourself. Number 2, attitude. Folks, I used to hate talking to people about attitude. And I don't even want to be here talking to the judge or the doctor about attitude, like, really? But when you live with major depression, all of a sudden you kind of realize attitude is a little thing that makes a big difference. My blood sugar 3 times a day was over 550. My A1C, 15.5. I had to do something. But I tell you that because I want you, whether it's you personally or the people we work with every day, to teach them, ourselves, the people. You have to be your best advocate. You have to fight for services you need. You guys understand bipolar? But again, you think the judge, you sit there, oh, Mr. Yalden, listen, I understand, it's okay. You know, you're not the only one that's told me to F off. Again, it's not an excuse. So when I talk about choices, I've come to learn, my therapist about 4 months ago, my therapist says I'm her favorite client. About 4 months ago, we're talking, and she says, you know, Jeff, you ever think that maybe you have a problem with anger? I was like, no. She said, I think you do. Pissed me off. I almost punched her. I was like, I don't. But I'm very open to wanting to be better. I'm very open to trying to, like, oh, so why do you think I have a problem with anger? I don't hit, I don't yell, I don't punch the wall. Then I'm reading this thing called anger distortions. And I've come to realize if you Google anger distortions, I think everybody in this room has somewhat of a problem with anger. When you're dealing with someone, maybe it's a family member, when we stand, we're overpowering. We're intimidating, even if you're smaller than them. And so one of the things I really come to learn, sit down, be at their level, and I've come to learn sometimes, honey, are you telling me that and you just want me to listen because you're venting? Or do you want my opinion? Rarely I've come to have people say, oh no, Jeff, I want your opinion. But I've come to learn the more you're willing to just be present and listen, the more I think they're willing to share. Ask yourself these 3 questions. Number 1, is my life meaningful? Number 2, is my life fulfilling? What does that mean? Number 3, is my life rewarding? Let me be careful how I say this. I'm a man of God. I hope I don't offend you. When a child or an adult is dealing with mental illness, I don't think God is the answer yet. Please hear me. I hope I say this right. If you have cancer, God can be in your life. But you're also probably going to get chemo, right? If you have mental illness, you need a mental health professional first. And then God can be a part of that too. Did I make sense without offending anybody? Yes. That is like the hardest. Okay. 4 simple letters. T-I-M-E. Let's continue to do our job every day.
We just had a talk from Jeff, and it was very informative, and he really has an interesting life story. And you'll learn a lot from him when you listen to him. And listen to the little things that he talks about, the little things that we take for granted but mean so much in our lives.
Great visit to NAMI, Pasco County. I was super impressed with the amount of people that were there. Not just the amount of people, but pretty influential people. And I think it's great that down here in Florida, we're talking mental health, and we're making great strides. So it was a great visit. The director, Doug Warren, said I was perfect. So that's what matters. I think as long as the client is happy, that's what matters. I got to speak about what I'm passionate about, and I got to feel like I planted some seeds. So all in all, it was a great night down here. Thank you, NAMI, Pasco County.